So let's recap the whole Coutinho cutting holes in his boots situation. All of a sudden a picture comes out of Coutinho with a giant square hole cut out of the right boot of his Nike Mercurial Vapor 11s. People go crazy, and I make a video, most people assuming the same thing, that he had a blister and that was the best way to relieve pressure on the blister while still being able to play. Then all of a sudden the hole gets smaller, kind of a more targeted hole on the outer right side of the heel, again, only on the right boot. I make another video and I share my opinion in that I think he might have Haglund's deformity. If you want to learn more about that, I'll leave a pop-up on screen to that video where I explain exactly what that is. Now, some pictures have come out via this Instagram account. If you want to check it out, it's a pretty cool page. It'll be linked down below in the description of some custom Phil Coutinho Nike Mercurial Vapor 11s that have some pretty interesting stitching and one very cool modification aside from the stitching that lets us know that the hole is still there, you just can't see it anymore. And that's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you what is most likely the final video in this whole Coutinho boot drama hole cutting situation, at least concerning the Mercurial Vapor 11, because these pictures of his custom boots have now surfaced, and they've actually caused quite a bit of confusion with some misconceptions and things that people are putting out there that simply aren't true. So what I plan on doing in this video is kind of dissecting these pictures, looking at them very closely, and breaking down exactly what custom modifications have been made, because there is no visible hole, but the hole is still there. If you want to learn more about them, you should enjoy this one. If you guys do end up enjoying the video, don't forget to support it with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. So here's a closer look at the custom Nike Mercurial Vapor 11s that Coutinho was wearing. Now it's important to note that this is the Fire Pack colorway of the Vapor 11, which would have been the final colorway of this particular generation of Mercurial Vapor until Nike recently launched the Vapor 12 Elite and of course the Superfly 6 Elite to go along with that, which Coutinho is now currently wearing the Vapor 12. We'll talk about the new boots he's wearing and whether they're modified a little bit later in the video, so stick around for that. However, when you look at these custom Vapor 11s, there is one thing that definitely jumps out at you, very clear to see as totally custom and something we've never seen before with any other pro, is the stitching on either side of the heel, but only on the right boot, which is consistent with where the holes were being cut only on the right boot that Coutinho was wearing, which again, I explain in a completely different video as to why I think he has been cutting those holes. Haglund's deformity. Because of the visible stitching, a lot of people automatically assumed that these custom Mercurial Vapor 11s made for Coutinho were not the normal Tasian synthetic, but instead a full custom leather upper, something that obviously would not be available to the public, but that is just totally not true. If you look very closely at these pictures, I've zoomed it in a little bit for you, you can very clearly see the exact same texturing that you would normally find on the synthetic of a Nike Mercurial Vapor 11. This, of course, being a regular pair that I have right here. Also, if you look at the pictures, very clear to see, there's no seam anywhere on the shoe, which would be required if the boots were actually leather. This is a one-piece upper because of the synthetic material. If they were to implement some kind of a natural material, there would be folds, there would be imperfections. You're also going to notice the speed rib texturing as well as the extra reinforcement around the toe on his custom pair as you'd find on the regular version. Also take a closer look at the tongue. Everything is the same. So the theory that Coutinho's custom Vapor 11s are leather and not synthetic is just simply not true whatsoever. So if they're not leather, then why is the stitching there? Well, look a little bit closer at the lateral side of the heel at the very, very back. You'll notice that there's a slightly sunken in spot where he was normally cutting the holes in the heel of his boots. That's because there is a physical hole there, but of course there's material on the outside covering that up and a heel liner covering up the hole as well. So you can't see through the hole, but the hole is still in fact there. The reason why the stitching is there on either side, and this is just a guess, but I think it makes a lot of sense, is to actually add structure to the rear portion of the shoe, specifically the liner, so it doesn't stretch and move around, possibly even tear, because you'd have this open gap in the middle of the heel structure that would normally have glue to hold everything in place. But since they can't put glue there because it's a physical hole to relieve pressure on his heel, they had to add the stitching on either side just to ensure that the boot's not gonna fall apart as he's wearing them. Something that a lot of you guys brought up in the other videos that I made on this topic is why didn't Nike make him a custom pair of Vapor 11s to help with this particular situation instead of just cutting out the heel area of the boot? And the simple answer to that question is Nike has always been making him custom Vapor 11s because he's a Nike endorsed athlete, a really big name within the Nike brand at that, especially for the Mercurial line. So just to be clear, he is being paid to wear the Nike Mercurial Vapors. So why did he start cutting holes? Well, again, if my theory is correct about the whole Haglund's deformity thing, this is something that could have flared up, and the only way to relieve that pressure and make him able to play comfortably would be to cut out the heel area. Once that started getting a lot of attention on social media, I would assume Nike didn't like that, so they really made a strong effort to make him a custom pair. And the shoes that you're seeing in the picture are basically the result of the solution that Nike eventually came up with, where he could wear the Nike Mercurial Vapor 11 modified with the hole, which obviously made it comfortable for him to wear. They added a little bit of stitching to hold everything in place, but to 99.9% of people, they wouldn't know the difference. They would have no idea that there was still an actual hole at the back of his boots. As far as Coutinho's current boot situation is concerned, obviously the Vapor 11 is now an older model. He has since moved on to the new Vapor 12 Elite. And based on all the pictures that I've seen, him wearing the shoes in various different colors, it doesn't look like there's any obvious modifications that have been made to the shoe. Now, it's entirely possible that he still has that hole cut out of the heel structure at the back, but it's covered up really nicely by Nike this time around from the start, versus him cutting holes in the back until Nike comes up with a solution. That, again, we don't really know. The pictures that I've seen kind of suggest that it's a regular Vapor 12. I'm sure they're custom fitted, as all his Mercurial Vapors have been for the last several years. So there's that to consider. But it's also worth noting that the construction in the heel area of the Vapor 12 Elite is a fair bit different than what we had with the Vapor 11. So it's entirely possible that the stock heel area of the Vapor 12, because of how different it is perfectly fine for him, is totally comfortable without any major modifications other than just a custom shape. Again, only time will tell, because it seems to be a situation that wasn't a problem from the start of the Vapor 11, but over time, as his Haglund's deformity, if that's what he has, flared up, he had to start cutting holes. So again, this is one of those situations that could change over time. We'll just have to wait and see what Coutinho ends up doing with his boots. Anyways, guys, that is it for this one. I had so many of you guys message me the pictures of these custom Coutinho Vapor 11, so I figured I'd make a video breaking down exactly what mods have been made, because there's a lot of misinformation out there that I saw, at least, where people are trying to suggest that these are leather and not synthetic, which very clearly is not the case. So if you guys did enjoy the video, don't forget to support it with a like. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.